Yay Networks.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
you.
Hey, girl.
How you doing? I'm Emily.
And I'm Laura.
And this is Cheers to That Shit. What's been going on in your life?
Oh my gosh.
I had to think about what I've had going on in my life.
I don't
That
even
much,
remember.
huh?
I don't
Wow.
even remember what I did last weekend, but I can tell you what I'm going to do this weekend. I am going to continue on my journey of seeing how many children I can move in and out of dorm rooms and apartments.
Oh, fun.
So I am on that journey again this weekend.
That's exciting. I
Going
love that
to
for
move
you.
a child from one apartment to another. And then in like another couple weeks, I'll be moving one back into a dorm. So I've been doing this now since 2012. Moving a child in and out
I've
of
been moving kids in and out of dorms for 25 years.
That's what I feel like. And, you know, just a little side note on that story. 2012 was when my oldest child went away to college.
Right.
So that was my first experience doing that. But my youngest child was 10.
Right.
So his birthday always falls at that move into college time. So
Happy birthday.
every year since 2012, my youngest child has been on the road in a car, moving boxes, setting up one of his siblings in a dorm or apartment.
Happy birthday, son. Can you get that box?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's what I'm doing this coming
Well, that's
weekend.
exciting. Well, this past weekend, I saw Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. And
Nope.
we sure didn't, because I didn't plan ahead and buy my tickets.
It was, well, it's 3 hours.
I know. I heard it's really good, though.
It is really good. There got to be like a point, like 2 hours and like 10 minutes in, where I was like, fuck, what time is it? Like, it like had a little lull moment. But then like the last 20 minutes picked up and you're like, oh my shit, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It is very good. My brain doesn't work. It took me a minute because it flashes back.
Right.
And then to the future of what's going on, and then like beyond the future of like what
Could happen.
is happening.
Oh, okay.
Like, so but it's like
back
it's
and
color,
forth and-
black and white, color,
Oh,
black
yeah,
and
yeah.
white, color.
Yeah.
So it just took me a minute. And even Ryan was like, yeah, it took me a second to figure out
Yeah, what
what
was
each
going on.
scene was. Because
So-
there's no timeline. It just happens. And you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what year are we in?
Right. So I had the opportunity to go to Los Alamos in New Mexico, which is where the Department of
Yeah.
Energy is, where all of that happened. And there's an Oppenheimer museum there. And so I got to go to the museum and see it was like dedicated just to that. So that was really, really cool. And the person who lived out there that took me, I just saw her post on Facebook about the movie. And she was saying how this is a historical teaching educational movie. It's not an action movie.
Right.
So she was just talking about IMAX, how a lot of people want to see it in IMAX, but she's like, the only real part worth IMAX is one of the simulations of a bomb going off.
Yeah.
She's like, other than that, it's like men in conference rooms and behind desks. So
It's very historical, but it was and I'm normally not drawn to these types of historical movies. Like I do like war movies, but not, this isn't I wouldn't say this would be my first pick of a movie.
Right.
Like I'm going to go see Barbie this weekend.
right.
That would be my first pick of the movie, but it was really good.
Yeah,
It was
I'm
really, really
excited.
good. And then we got
I'm
family
excited.
pictures taken on Monday.
I know, those were so cute. Thanks for sharing your sneak peeks.
You're welcome. But yeah, that's
Your
about,
kids are cute.
oh my God, I know.
In case you didn't know, I just wanted to tell you.
They're so freaking cute. Yeah. So that's
So you're doing Barbie this weekend.
doing Barbie this weekend. Yeah, I'll have to fill everyone in next week because and so anyway, blah blah blah. One of my friends got supervisor she works at the hospital, so she got promoted
Did we switch topics?
to be supervisor, and so that's what we're going to see Barbie.
Oh,
Because we're going to celebrate.
That's awesome.
And because it's Barbie.
Yeah.
Because it's Barbie.
I'm sure I'll see that one eventually too.
You need to go ahead and buy tickets.
I'll buy tickets now. Maybe I'll get to see it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. What are we talking about today?
God, excuse me. This week, what are we talking about today? You know what? Let me tell you. I'm so glad you asked.
Thank God.
We're going to talk about the wedding experience. And we've talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it more in is it for the couple
Right.
or is it for the guests?
Yeah, there's a lot of not debate, but there's a lot of discussion like, oh, plan your wedding with your guests in mind and do these
Right.
things for your guests. And the guest experience is so popular and trending. So that's an interesting point of view.
I want to start off by us giving like what our opinions are initially right now.
Mm-hmm.
And while I think, yes, you do need to have things in mind, keep your guests in mind.
Mm-hmm.
We have preached from day one that the wedding is for you and your partner.
Right.
And it should exude the vibe of you two
Right.
coming together.
Right.
I think we are in a world where Gen Z is just very self-centered. No offense. It's like, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes
just
it's not,
is-
but it's
it
just
is what
like,
it is.
what's in it for me? I
Right.
guess is more the mentality of like, well, what's in it for me? But when you go and celebrate somebody else, there isn't really anything in it for you other than celebrating them joining their life together.
Right. That is what's in it for you.
So
you get to witness your family member, friend, whoever they are.
Yeah.
You get to witness their marriage. That's what's in it for you.
the end. Like, but
Okay,
really,
we're done.
all right. Well, thanks guys. So that is, I think that we both share that opinion that
Absolutely.
it is for the couple.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so stressful because you go through these, 8, 12, 18 months of planning, thinking about everything
Everybody
you
else.
want and everyone else. And if this is going to be good and, oh, we could do this for them. And then you get to the day of and it's hectic. We'll talk about it. We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
But I want to start with the ceremony because that's what it all starts with.
Yeah.
And obviously the ceremony is really for the couple.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of the wedding itself is the union of two
Right.
people,
Which happens at the ceremony.
which happens at the ceremony. And, it's whether you're religious or not religious, or that joining of two people becoming one family, new
Yeah.
family, and starting your life. That is the meat of what it's about.
Okay.
So,
No, I agree. I think
the reception is just like,
fuck it. Who cares? But like the ceremony is 100% for the couple. Now, if you're getting married in a church, there are things that you can have for your guests. Like, you can have, if the church is going to be hot, you can have fans, you can have the programs. Thank you. I was like, what is that thing called? The paper. You can have your programs, you can have whatever. If you're getting married at the beach, there are things that you can do. You can
Right.
have the flip-flops.
yeah. To make your guests more comfortable
Yeah.
and to make it a more enjoyable experience. But I wouldn't say it's an experience for them.
No.
Yeah.
But that would be to help them be more comfortable in that experience. But I also then go back to like, why do you even give a shit if your guests are comfortable? Like they should know I'm getting married on the beach. So like fucking prepare.
Right. Maybe I should wear flip-flops and bring my shoes
And bring my
with me.
shoes. Yeah. So, it's such a toss up. But there are things that you can do to make your ceremony more guest experience. And one thing that I saw that I had never really seen before is a like little taste teas. I think that's what it was called.
Tasties?
Taste teas.
Oh, taste teas.
2 words. So you're passing out hors d'oeuvre, not you as the bride, that would not be fun. But like someone is passing out little hors d'oeuvres
Right.
to get your guests a little
Teas of what's to come.
Of what's to come. I was like, okay, that's cute. And
Yeah.
people have champagne welcomes, which I think is cute.
Yeah.
Another thing that I saw is that during the ceremony, you have servers passing out like a signature cocktail to everybody. And then
like
at the end,
cheers.
have a little cheers.
That's such a great idea. Well, we had the Italian ice
Yeah.
at
that-
Jackie's.
That was before, right?
It was when they came into
Yeah.
the ceremony.
Yeah.
Well, because the ceremony was outside and it was June and we
Yeah.
thought it was going to be really hot, but it was kind of
No,
cloudy.
it was really
that,
nice. Yeah.
It was cloudy that day, but still, it was get an Italian ice and go find your seat and sit down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And see, so I do think, yes, it is important to keep your guests in mind, but for sure, in my opinion, the ceremony is 100% about the couple.
Mm-hmm.
And if they choose to add anything into the guest experience at that point, good for them. If not,
That's a plus for you as a guest.
right.
Yeah.
The end.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to take a break and come back and we'll talk about cocktail hour and then dinner time. And we're back.
One of these days I'm going to do that myself. I don't know why that's such a big thing to me.
I don't either. Silly goose. Okay, cocktail hour. If y'all don't know, but I'm sure you do know, cocktail hour happens right after the ceremony. It is the time for the couple to get pictures taken, to get the wedding party together, family pictures, newly married pictures, kind of have a breather. If they want to do a private, whatever, that's their time. So the couple, the wedding party, and the family are typically away from all the rest of the guests, and then they trickle in throughout. I know for us, like for me and Ryan at our wedding, we got like the last maybe 10, 15 minutes of cocktail hour. And then, because we didn't do a first look. And then it was like, okay, that's it. Goodbye. Like, on to the next.
Same. We, with Jackie's, I talk about Jackie. I don't even know what. Yeah, with my wedding, we did that too. We did like pictures and whatever. But usually you come in like near the end of the cocktail hour. So that's really a great time for the guests to have.
That is a guest experience. For my, I feel like that is when you should really focus in more on your guests because you're not there. Your partner isn't there.
Right.
And your family who comes in, they're probably talking with other family at that point because they haven't been able to really.
Everybody's catching up and introducing themselves and getting acclimated, getting a little taste tease of the reception. So
a couple of things like for the couple in cocktail hour, and I think we've talked about this before, is talking to your venue and having a like set server or somebody
having some wait staff that's assigned to them,
food, drinks, because you are like
you're missing the whole cocktail hour. So it's like the appetizers and the drinks basically
are
before
gone.
And you'd have to go up until dinner. So it is good to have that set up or brought out to wherever the couple and the bridal party, the family are, so that they can be part of that.
Yeah. But I do think, like I said, cocktail hour is really for your guests. That is the time where you can they're introduced to like your signature drinks. They're introduced to any of the food that you've picked out. They're able, if you have any like pictures out and about, you did that at Jackie's. I know I did that at mine. That's, floral arrangements, whatever. That's where they're able to really take in the venue, take in the scene. That's their first step into
maybe a guest book or whatever you have out for that. Maybe they can drop their gift off if there was no place to do that, in the ceremony. Typically that's done wherever the reception is. So, place to do that, pick up your table cards or place settings.
Yeah.
Settings,
whatever.
but
I know what you're talking about.
Assignments,
seating assignments, which we have talked about that is desperately needed. So for your guests, how you can have this experience be more fun for them. So they're not just like meandering about doing whatever, doing food stations because everyone loves food, but having all the food kind of spaced out.
Right.
And having like you can't really have interactive food stations because you got to be clean. But one thing that we did was we had a chicken and waffle station. So you had to like build your own chicken and waffles and then you could pour your syrup and your butter or whatever on it at the end. So it was kind of like a cute little buffet type thing. Yeah. But having that, obviously if you're having alcohol at your wedding, having that be there.
Spacing your bars out.
Yes.
Or not putting it in the one back corner of the room and then everybody's over there and everybody walked in and then they all migrated over to that corner. Yeah. That's always a big pet peeve of mine. I like having two bars usually and having them spaced out. Or if somebody's walking around like
with champagne or a
butlering,
cocktail or something.
Cocktails while you go to the bar to get something else.
Something else like actual experiences. I think having a photo booth in
I was just gonna
your
say
cocktail hour. I know you could probably work something out with like your DJ if you do go with a DJ, or if you are having an actual like photo booth business, they might set up a second one for, an hour or two just in the cocktail. But having that is fun. People like doing those kind of like cheesy, corny things at weddings because you don't really get to do them anywhere else. Like it's fun.
And especially in that downtime while it's kind of a holding area before you go into the reception. I mean, I'm thinking you could even, because once you go into the reception, everyone initially is kind of going and finding their seat and getting seated. You could easily break that down and set it up.
100%.
No one's going to know what's happening.
No. So that I did see, and this kind of, I want to see what your opinion is on this one. I did see a karaoke setup.
Oh my God. That would be so much fun at a wedding.
Like, but at the cocktail hour.
Yes.
So it's like no one's really, hopefully at this point, buzzed yet, unless someone pre-gamed your wedding, which, I mean, shit, I've done it. So,
yeah.
But like, when I read that, I was like, I don't know how I feel. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I actually kind of fucking love that.
Yeah. I think it depends on how like formal your wedding is, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
But,
you don't want people like,
yeah,
you know.
everyone's very like, oh, I'm so fancy, and I just got here and I'm looking, extra. But that would be so much fun.
Wouldn't that be fun? I saw that and I was like, that would be
a great time to do it from the standpoint of by the time you get into the reception, you don't want to be taking away anything from the couple.
Yeah. Like get all the energy out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be so much fun.
Also food trucks. That's always a fun.
That's a great way to get interactive as well.
Yeah. After cocktail hour, then you have dinner. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have buffet dinner, sometimes that can depending on how many people you have, that can take a while. If it's in your budget, I do recommend having a plated dinner, like a seated, plated. Just one, it takes so much less time, but two, it's just not so like.
I think the key to either of those things, obviously it depends on the number of guests that you have, because the bigger the reception, the longer it takes to feed everybody. And I would recommend, if possible, if you do have a big reception, big guest count, is that you have 2 buffet lines, or you have enough servers that are serving plated dinners so that by the time the first table is done and starting to get up and, mill around, the last table is just getting their dinner. I just don't.
I've been to a wedding like that.
I've been to many weddings like that, and I don't understand why they're not serviced better or have multiple buffet lines. And I will say that I learned this a long time ago in the wedding industry, is buffet lines need to be manned by the actual caterer.
Yes.
And have wait staff there to help serve, because when you go in the buffet line, you always take the biggest scoop of the first thing you have, and then 10 items later you're like, well crap, I don't have any place on my plate for that. Or they just take too much. People take more than they're going to eat. So having someone from the caterer there to actually serve appropriate amounts of the food to people is a really great idea too.
I think having, at least if you're going to do buffet, having 2 stations, having food stations of like different types of food. I went to a wedding where they had you had all the meats and the barbecue type thing, and then you had all the fish and all blah, blah, blah. And then you had the breads and cheeses and sides. And that was really fun because it was a different kind of experience at each station.
Yeah.
So that would be, anyway, that's what happens in dinner. And again, if you do have a buffet, people are up and down. But if it's seated, it kind of goes a little bit more seamlessly. Another thing that happens around the dinner time too are toasts.
Yes.
I have a love-hate with toasts. Obviously the toasting and everything is definitely for the couple, because as a guest, when you're sitting there and you're like, let's say I'm here on the groom side and someone from the bride side gets up and they're like, I love you. And you're just sitting there as the guest, like, I have no idea who you are.
What your connection is.
Yeah, this is so sweet, but like,
move it along.
Yeah. Yes. So I do feel like toasts 100% for the couple. Very rarely do the guests really.
That's when you get up and go to the bathroom.
Yes. It sounds so bad because I know people put so much in to their toast, but it just doesn't always hit.
Yeah.
Tell whoever's giving your toast, let's limit it, like 2 minutes. I've seen so many TikTok videos where like the sister or the brother or the best friend, they just go on and on and on. And you're like, shut the fuck up.
I think the best toasts are the ones that are in terms of, you have all these guests out there and we're talking about experience. Is it for the couple or is it for the guests? I just think maybe back in your mind, keep in mind there's all these people out there. I love the toasts that are very lighthearted, that are even funny, a little comical, and it helps bring in and engage the audience, if you will, into whatever that story is that you're telling.
Yeah.
Rather than this like private moment where I'm just going to cry about everything that we went through when we were 2 years old for our whole life.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to kind of like, even though it is for the couple, pull the audience into it.
That is the one part where I will say, while we're both very much like weddings are for the couple, that is one part where I do feel like the couple does need to say something, and in that moment really keep your guests in mind. If there's something that your best friend wants to say, they can say that to you anytime. Mm-hmm. It's not a show, it's not a contest, which I feel like is what things are starting to get to be now. Also during dinner, couples are taken and maybe doing more pictures, because that's when guests are entertained by their food. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I feel like dinner time is more for the guest experience. And we've talked about the couple needs to eat. Anyway, it's just cocktail hour, obviously, yes.
Yeah, the beginning of the reception is all of that, getting all the little details out.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take one other break and we'll come back and talk about the reception party time. And we're back. Here we are.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was, if you guys could just be on our breaks and part of what happens over here.
Okay. Final part of the wedding, the reception.
Yeah. Favorite part.
Best part. This obviously, a lot of people joke like the ceremony is for the bride and the reception's for the groom. No.
What?
Yeah, because like the man doesn't want to be there. He wants to party. The reception's for him and his friends. And like,
who says that?
Dumb people.
I have never heard that.
Oh my God, I have. No, I have. And it's very annoying. The reception, I feel like, is 50-50. Obviously for the couple, that's the celebration. We're married. Let's enjoy. Let's celebrate. We've invited all these people here.
Let's have a good time together.
Yes, they love us. They support us. Let's do it. And then obviously you're going to have things for your guests. For the couple, you have your first dance. Maybe you have a couple more toasts or whatever, but you have the desserts, the cake cutting, and then you just have fun.
Yeah.
Anything else added on top of that, I feel like, is guest experience. So for me, we've talked about like, I'm loving the whole minimalist thing. I do think uplights are important.
I think uplights are really pretty.
Yeah.
They really make a room look pretty.
Well,
if it's in your budget, I would say do that.
I agree, because the lights dim down at a certain point, but you can dim them down a little bit more. It's just more of like an ambiance type thing.
It's creating an atmosphere, and I think that's part of the experience.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Florals for me, I know we don't agree on this at all, but I think let's just say this, for guests, they are not going to remember what type of chair they sat in. They are not going to remember the flowers on the table. They're not going to remember the flowers that were draped up on the chandeliers. They may not even remember that you have up lighting.
Yeah.
They're not going to remember the color of it. What they are going to remember is if the food is good, if the music was good, and if the alcohol was good.
Yeah. If they had a good time. Dancing, had a good time. I will say, I don't even know how this fits into the conversation, but
oh, good.
Obviously you want the room to look pretty, and for some people that's what the tableware looks like, or the linens. For some people it is the florals and whatnot, and it is the bride's vision. So I think it's good to, whatever your budget is, to just have that the way that you want it to have. I will say, in spite of all the stuff we had at Jackie's wedding, there was that huge fireplace that kind of went all the way up the wall really high, and we had that we had this big huge greenery installation with a monogrammed H up there. And I did have a lot of people that was like a really cool thing to have there, because it fit in the room and it went with the room, but it was also kind of in the style of what Jackie envisioned. So I like maybe some kind of Hallmark piece or some signature thing that really speaks to the whole room, to the guests, to the family, to the couple, everybody. So.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I think there's a way to do that keeps the couple like the vibe of the couple of who
Right,
they are,
right.
but it also is like a cool thing for the
Right.
guests. Like if you have an installation or like just something like that, maybe that's like photo worthy.
Right.
I think that could be a really cool experience. Obviously like songs and everything. We've talked about doing like dessert bars. I think
You know what?
that's
Can we go back to songs for a minute?
absolutely.
You know what my biggest pet peeve at a wedding is?
Shout.
No.
Oh, okay.
Is when guests like try to go up and request songs from the DJ.
It's not a club.
And it's
not a club.
And well, maybe you don't know, but the couple's already met with the DJ. They've already decided what the vibe of the wedding is going to be like. They know what their family and their friends like. Most likely you all are going to like the same kind of music,
Yeah.
or you want some slow songs played for the older crowd, and or some songs that are have a meaning to you and your
Yeah.
family, like you want to dance with your dad or whatever. But please don't go requesting songs. I think that's so tacky.
Agreed. And I think that's where like guests start to get confused.
Yeah, they think
with what's happening.
Right.
Like it's not a club. This party, while yes, it's for you to celebrate us.
Right.
It's not for you to go out, like
You're not
willy nilly.
You're not having a great time dancing like, oh, I want to hear so and so. I'm going to go request that
Yeah.
from the DJ, because I'm going to tell you the DJ is going to be like, great, yep, perfect.
Sure, let me add that to the list.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this. We had a DJ on. We talked like you're on the phone with that couple. This is obviously a huge digression of experience, but like the DJ is on the phone with the couple. The band is on the phone with the couple for like an hour talking about what kind of songs do you like? What do you not want to hear?
Right.
Is there a specific artist you don't want to hear? Is there a song like, do you want to do this first? I mean, it's a full in-depth conversation.
Right.
And that just goes back to the point of the guests can sometimes take over and interject, and you start hearing opinions and like, oh, y'all's wedding was fun, but like the DJ didn't want to play my song, and it's like, well, it's not about you, isn't it? Like, that's weird.
Well, I mean, I think when the couple meets with the musical entertainers, that a lot of care and thought is taken into
Agreed.
making it a great event for everybody to enjoy. So they're taking into account the slow songs that want to be played, the ones that we don't want to be played, so that it can be enjoyable for everyone. But that's just one of my little things that
I agree.
annoys me.
I love though when couples think outside of the box for the reception, and they have like the late night snacks.
Yes, I love that. That's kind of a new, well, I don't want to say it's kind of a new trend, but something that I've been seeing
a lot more
in the more recent times. Yeah.
I think it's fun, like if you do a late night snack or like a late night dessert or just something to absorb the alcohol is really what that is for.
That was the best part, because after dinner there really is
nothing,
no more food, and usually the
yeah.
cake or the dessert happens right after that, and then the party continues for a little while.
Yeah.
So at my niece's wedding, they had like a French fry bar.
Oh yeah.
And it was fries with all these different toppings and stuff, and it was nom 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 nom.
Yeah, I was at a wedding. I mean, this was like maybe the first wedding I ever went to, and I was like in 5th or 6th grade. They had a mashed potato bar. I will never, that shit.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that before.
That shit was fucking it. Like it was, I remember being like, Mom.
In the beginning or at the end of the night?
No, at the end of the night.
Yeah.
It was so yes.
I think that's an ultimate guest experience, because at that point you are thinking about, what has everybody been doing for all this time? Let's pull out this, late night snack or food item or whatever to help, everybody start to maybe wind down a little bit, soak up a little alcohol before we have our getaway. It starts to calm the crowd, because that going from like bumping out on the dance floor to like, okay, and this is the last song of the night, it's kind of a letdown.
It is. It's like, if you have something like in between.
Yeah, it's a good transition to rein your guests back in and bring them back into that whole experience.
Something else that I've seen, talking about flowers, if you do choose to have a lot of flowers, one thing that I hate seeing at the end of the night
is throwing them in the garbage.
Throwing them all away. Like not even compost. Like you've just spent $10,000 on flowers for 4 hours, and they literally, like, you're walking through and they're just throwing them away in front of your face, and you're like,
I saw that at Jackie's wedding. That was a little
You're
disheartening.
like, oh God.
But I tried to take something home, and in the scale of the room, it looked like, sure, that'll go on my dining room table. When I got home, it was like on the ceiling. I was like, well, okay.
Well, one thing that I saw is during the reception, everyone's dancing. They started taking the flowers out into the hall and like breaking them all down, and guests are able to build their own bouquet.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Right?
That's the best idea I've heard yet.
Isn't that like that experience to me right there is like, yes, because I had people coming up, do you mind if I take this centerpiece? I was like, please don't let him throw it away. Like, yes, take it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But being able to like build your own experience, if there's like a food bar right behind it, and like being able to build, how fun.
That would be great to like bring your guests to an area specifically like the late night snack.
Yes.
And then that's happening behind the scenes without anybody really seeing it. Because you don't want that disruption happening during.
Yeah.
When I saw a great
that,
way to move the crowd around the room to create more experiences.
Yes, and because not many people, especially not many guests, think like, oh, all these flowers are going to go in the garbage. Like, I want to save this. I wonder if I can go up and ask. And then you see them all being tossed away, and it's too late at that point, or like the bride and groom are gone, or the wedding planner, whoever, like everyone's gone. So it just gets slipped. But if you make that an intentional experience, like how cool is that?
That is really fun. That is a really cool
Let's
idea.
start doing that, everybody.
Yeah.
Do it.
Where did you just stream that up? Or you saw
No,
it
it's
somewhere?
on TikTok.
Oh, that's
Tickety
what
talk.
that, yeah.
No, that's not what, I have a trend that I want to, I say trend. It's
So that was the
saw.
pregame trend to the trend? that
Yeah,
you saw?
that was my step.
That was
in.
great.
Smooth transition.
God love TikTok for
love and hate, man. I get trapped in there for hours.
It is love and hate.
Okay, I did see. Well, that's it for the guest experience. I saw this video on TikTok I want to talk about for a second that doesn't really have anything to do with guest experience, but I had to bring it up because this video had so many views, and I want to get your opinion on it. I think you already know what I'm going to say, but like
I don't. I have no idea.
When I tell you, you will. So I saw this planner. I think she was a planner, and she was talking about a new tradition, celebration that she is seeing in weddings. And we've talked about like the honeymoon fund or like the like help me buy like down payment, whatever. So it is this new celebration tradition that you get engaged, you have your engagement party, and then you have your wedding. But in between all that, instead of having like a shower, or I guess this could be kind of a precursor to a shower, it's more closer to your engagement party. It is to help fund the wedding.
Okay.
So you invite all your guests to come and donate to your wedding fund to be actually able to afford your wedding.
So what are you inviting them to?
I guess a shower. I don't even know how it would be called. A celebration.
A fundraiser?
Pretty much. A wedding fundraiser.
So like a shower or something where you host and bring everybody there, and then what?
Pull out your checkbooks, everybody. Right.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
You might as well just put a Venmo code on the save the date. Now accepting donations through May, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, please have your payment in by such and such a date so I can start booking my vendors with your money.
Thank you so much. Like, here's my thing. If you and your partner cannot afford your wedding and you don't have someone in your family.
Is there a purpose behind that? Other than funding other than the obvious? Like,
no, it's literally like, help us fund the wedding.
If I ever got invited to one of those,
I would
never go. And it would directly impact my gift.
It would directly impact my opinion of them.
Well, and possibly my even going to the wedding.
Yeah, agreed. I think at that point, here's my thoughts on the whole like fund, wedding fund, honeymoon fund, house fund. That should be all you're asking for. If you're that, like, your only option is whatever fund you have.
Right.
People, if you want that, if you need help paying for something, you should not have a registry at all. That's my opinion. I think having this whole wedding fund, if you and your partner can't afford your wedding, and if you don't have a family member who's offering to pay for your wedding, go to the damn courthouse.
Well, I know we've talked about the whole honeymoon funding thing as part of a registry and whatever. And, we talked about all that, and I don't really have a huge opinion on it, but
the wedding fund.
Yeah, that's
tacky.
That is very tacky.
It's tacky. And
that is the least desirable guest experience you could possibly incorporate into your
I was just going to say, bringing
wedding.
that back to the whole guest experience thing.
Yes.
Imagine how much money do you think you're actually going to get from this whole like wedding fundraiser?
I'd like to know how you're presenting it to, like, hi, are you sending an invitation out? Are you renting a venue? Are you renting somewhere to gather all these people? Are you going to feed them? Are you going to do anything? Because that's pretty much
money.
Wedding reception.
Yeah.
And then that costs money to do that. So how are you presenting it to them in a way that is, one, going to interest them enough to come and donate money? Like what? I don't really get that. And I guess I don't really care to get it because I think it's a dumb idea.
It's so bad.
I think it's tacky and
it's so bad. I
go away. But you know what? Anything goes on TikTok these days.
I just think going back to the whole guest experience thing with that, it surely does. It impacts what you're going to get. Like if I'm going to donate to your wedding, I'm not giving you a gift.
Right.
I'm not giving you a gift. And
then I want to have a say.
And then,
I'll have plated filet because I donated a couple $100.
But like, seriously, how much money do you think you'd actually, like, max 5,000, right? Like from your guests, like I'm donating
isn't the
$100 max.
Yeah.
Like $100.
Don't people normally, or not, I shouldn't say this is probably very antiquated, but when you give a gift at a wedding, like it's usually cash or a check.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people give a housewarming type gift at a shower, and most people give cash money at the wedding.
Cash money, baby.
Right. Which is typically what I've heard, kind of what you think your dinner costs or your per person costs. Or so it's been sort of, led to believe that.
Yeah.
So how much are you actually going to make?
Right.
Maybe if you had 100% participation and everybody was of that mindset, you might make back the food part.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to bring that up because when I saw that, I was just like, I thought the fucking honeymoon fund and the house fund was bad, but now people are actually having
a fundraiser
for their wedding. At that point, seriously, just have a honeymoon fund. Go to the courthouse, go out to dinner, like tell all your friends, hey, we're going to the courthouse. We would love to invite you all. We're going to rent out a room. We're going to go have dinner or past apps just to celebrate. And please donate if you can to our honeymoon fund. Just do that.
Yeah.
Just
I don't want to donate
simple.
to anything if I'm not getting invited to go to the celebration for it. Like if you're going to have a registry with a honeymoon fund, but you're going to get married at the courthouse and then peace out with the money I gave you, I'm not interested in that.
I'll buy you a whisk.
I'll buy you a luggage tag. Adios.
Ciao.
I mean, if I'm giving you money for something, I want to be invited to the celebration.
Yeah, agree.
If you care enough about my money, then you care enough to invite me to the party.
To the end. Absolutely. Okay. What an episode.
Yeah. I want to know from our listeners out there if you've ever participated in any kind of...
And how much did you give?
Well, yeah, participated in terms of been asked to give money, but also if you yourself have asked for money from people, like put on...
like doing a wedding fund.
Yeah, like doing a honeymoon, wedding fund, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
Tell me why.
Tell me why. Oh, boy. All right, guys. That's it for us this week. We'll be back next week. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Like us, share us, subscribe, tell all your friends.
And send us your stories.
Bye.
Bye.